Good afternoon. My name is Barbara Fuller, and as chair of the board, I welcome you to this virtual August 3rd, 2021 regular meeting of the Washtenaw County Board of Road Commissioners. Our communications manager, Emily Kaiser, will now describe how our virtual meetings operate, how to access the agenda packet, and how people may participate remotely. Emily?
Thanks, Commissioner. So before we start the meeting, I do just have a few items to cover. If you'd like to make public comment during the public comment portion of the meeting, we will provide instructions and prompt you at the appropriate time in the agenda to virtually raise your hand. This can be done through your computer or your touch-tone phone. The chat feature on this Zoom meeting is available only as technical support for users on their smartphone or computer. If you're experiencing technical issues with audio or video during the meeting, please submit a comment in the chat feature and I will try to help you troubleshoot. If you are a WCRC staff or commissioner, we ask that if you're having issues, please contact the IT help desk and they can help you during the meeting. The audio and video of this meeting is being recorded. A link to the video will be posted to wcroads.org in the next day or two. Today's meeting agenda is also posted on wcroads.org and there's a link available in the chat if you're joining us from your computer or smartphone. Thanks, Commissioner.
Thank you, Emily. I now call this meeting to order and ask Aaron to call the roll.
Barb Fuller.
Barb Fuller participating remotely from Zeb Road, Yard 1, Washtenaw County, Michigan.
Vice Chair Rod Green.
I am participating remotely from Scioto Township, 555 Zeb Road.
Thank you. Commissioner Doug Fuller.
Doug Fuller is present and is participating remotely from Yard 1 as well.
Thank you. Commissioner Gloria Yamas.
I am present and participating from Yard 1, also in Washtenaw County.
Thank you. Commissioner Joanne McCollum.
Good afternoon. I am present and I am attending remotely from Ypsilanti Township.
Thank you. Managing Director Cheryl Siddell.
Present.
County Highway Engineer Matt McDonald.
Present.
Director of Operations Jim Harmon.
Present.
And Director of Finance and IT Dan Ackerman.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. At this time, I ask that we observe a moment of silence for the 613,000 Americans and the 21,173 Michiganders who have perished because of the COVID-19 virus and now the Delta variant of that disease. Thank you, everyone. Next item of business is approval of the agenda. May I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I motion to approve the agenda for the August 3rd, 2021 meeting.
Or
Thank you. Discussion. Any additions, deletions, changes? Hearing none. Because this meeting is being held virtually, we will have all of these votes, roll call votes. Aaron, if you would please call the roll once again.
Okay. Commissioner Rod Green.
Yes.
Commissioner Doug Fuller.
Aye.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas.
yes.
Commissioner Joanne McCollum.
Yes.
And Commissioner Barb Fuller.
Yes. The next agenda item is acceptance of the minutes. We have two sets of minutes to approve today. May I have a motion to accept the board meeting minutes of July 20th, 21, pages 3 through 9 in our packet?
Chair, I
I'd be happy.
move to approve the virtual board meeting minutes of July 20th, 2021.
Doug Fuller supports.
Thank you. Is there discussion on those minutes? Hearing none. Aaron, if you would please call the roll.
Commissioner Doug Fuller.
Aye.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas.
Yes.
Commissioner Joanne McCollum.
Yes.
Commissioner Rod Green.
Yes.
And Commissioner Barb Fuller.
Yes. Next on the agenda are the working session minutes of July 20th, 2021. May I have a motion to approve them? They appear on pages 10 and 11 of our packet.
Chair, I move acceptance of the working session minutes of July 2021 as presented.
Support.
Thank you. Any discussion, corrections, deletions? Hearing none. Aaron, if you would please call the roll.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas,
Yes.
Commissioner Joanne McCollum,
Yes.
Commissioner Doug Fuller,
Aye.
Commissioner Rod Green,
Yes.
Commissioner Barb Fuller.
Yes. It's our pleasure to have the next item being a 25-year anniversary recognition for Mr. Daniel Blumenauer. And there's Daniel. Hello, Daniel.
Hi.
I will read our resolution of recognition. I wish that we could be here to hand it to you in person. We'll do that another time. At the Washtenaw County Road Commission, we realize that our employees are our greatest asset, and we are delighted to honor Daniel Blumenauer's dedicated service and commitment to this organization. Dan's career at the Road Commission has been spent as a heavy truck driver for District 4. Dan exhibits significant knowledge, dependability, and a commitment to the area and the people we serve. Dan is a valued member of our team, and his ongoing contributions are vital for the Washtenaw County Road Commission to continue to be successful in meeting our stated mission, vision, and guiding principles. In appreciation for your 24 years of service as a heavy truck driver, we present to you this gift certificate and say thank you for your hard work and dedication. Thank you, Dan. You're out there in my neck of the woods, right?
Yeah.
Thank you for taking good care of all of us out there in the hinterlands. And I believe we're joined by some of your comrades in arms out there, are we not?
Yeah, they're here.
They're here. All right.
Yes, we have them stashed across the hall so that they can witness the event. Although I think we have them muted, and that's probably for good reason there. But God, hopefully they're laughing, Dan. But Dan, I would like to thank you for 25 years of service. Obviously, that's a huge commitment, and the residents in the Manchester area have certainly benefited over the last 25 years. I was glad we spoke just a couple minutes ago that we have a few more years of Mr. Blumenauer with us. And we are very thankful for the service that you have provided.
Thank you.
Daniel, this is Doug. I'd like to thank you also.
So Daniel, this is Commissioner Yamas. I'd like to thank you too. It takes a commitment to stay at a job this long and doing what you're doing, and I appreciate it. Although we haven't had the opportunity to meet yet, I'm hopefully you'll stick around long enough that we can, and we get through this crazy time that we've been through these last year and going forward. But congratulations.
Thank you, Dan. Congratulations again for your work and your service to the Road Commission. We appreciate you.
Hi, Dan. This is Joanne McCollum, Commissioner, and I just wanted to say thank you for putting in the years and all your hard work and for your service. And one day I will meet you through all of this, but thank you.
And I just want to emphasize that these folks out at in District 4 take really good care of us. We have a lot of local gravel roads and a lot of trees that come down at non-business hour times, and gullies that the rain seems to enjoy making alongside our roads. And you guys have always been very prompt, and Dan, your role in keeping everything clear and safe to the best of our ability is deeply appreciated. Thank you. Wave the next time you go by my driveway.
Or honk.
I don't know whether they have horns or not. Okay,
Oh, yes, they have horns.
all right. Dan, anything?
Congratulations. We appreciate everything you do for us.
Thank you, Dan. Seeing no further comments, let's move on. Thank you again, Dan. We now move into the public comment section of our agenda. The guidelines are as follows. This is the time to be set aside on the agenda to receive comments from the public. This is not intended to be a period for dialogue. Each person will be allotted 3 minutes to address the board. Emily will describe how this works for people participating remotely.
Thanks, Commissioner. So as Commissioner Fuller mentioned, we're now at public comment. If you'd like to make public comment, we ask that you virtually raise your hand now. If you're viewing the meeting on your computer, first make sure to click join audio, and then you can raise your hand by clicking the participants button or the reactions button at the bottom of your screen. Just depends on what version of Zoom you have. And then you can raise your hand by clicking that raise hand button that you should see under either participants or reactions. If you dialed into the meeting from your touch-tone phone, you can raise your hand by dialing *9. I will unmute participants with raised hands one at a time. I will announce your username or the last 4 digits of your phone number when it's your turn to speak. Please share your name and address before beginning your comments.
Thank you, Emily. Are there any raised hands from members of the public at this time?
At this time, Commissioner, there are no raised hands.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda is written communications, and the summary of all of those appear on page 13 of the packet. Commissioners, anything you want to comment on, draw our attention to? All right, seeing none, we will move on. We will forego item 6, which is follow-up to public comment, since there was no public comment. Move right on into the new business. The consent agenda is the first item. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented, items 1 through 5? All this appears on page 15 through 17 of the packet.
So you may.
Is there a second?
Support.
Thank you. Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Aaron, if you would please call the roll.
Commissioner Joanne McCollum,
Yes.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas,
Yes.
Commissioner Rod Green,
Yes.
Commissioner Doug Fuller,
Aye.
Commissioner Barb Fuller.
Yes. Next on our agenda are action items. May I have a motion to approve action item number 1, which is approval of the second quarter budget amendments that were discussed at our July 20th working session. The motion actually appears on page 18 of the packet. The background appears on pages 25 through 55 of the packet. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I motion that upon the recommendation of the Director of Finance and IT and the concurrence of the Managing Director, the board hereby approves the 2021 second quarter budget amendments as presented.
Is there a second?
There is.
Is there discussion? Seeing none. Aaron, would you please call the roll?
Yes. Commissioner Joanne McCollum,
Yes.
Commissioner Rod Green,
Yes.
Commissioner Doug Fuller,
Aye.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas,
Yes.
and Commissioner Barb Fuller.
Yes. Second action item, may I have a motion to approve nominees for the County Road Association Self-Insurance Fund, also known as CRASIF, their Board of Trustees. The motion appears on pages 18 and 19 of our packet. The background material is on pages 57 through 68 of our packet. Commissioner Fuller, I believe, is prepared to make this motion, if you would, please.
The board hereby votes for Lisa Kleeman of the Emmett County Road Commission and Jesse Campbell of the Alcona County Road Commission for the northern seats. We further vote for Bobby Livermore of the Chippewa County Road Commission, for the UP seat. And for at-large seats, we vote for Roderick Green of our own road commission, Washtenaw, and Ken Halka of the Muskegon County Road Commission, and Daryl Cass of the Menominee County Road Commission.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on the items? I'd just like to commend our own Commissioner Roderick Green for putting his name forward for nomination for this Board of Trustees. We appreciate the gesture, Rod, and the leadership. Thank you. Aaron, if you would please call the roll.
Commissioner Rod Green,
Yes.
Commissioner Doug Fuller,
Aye.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas,
Yes.
Commissioner Joanne McCollum,
Yes.
and Commissioner Barb Fuller.
Yes. The next item on our agenda is reports. Do we have a county commissioner with us today? Is that phone number?
Yeah, I am not aware of if that is a county commissioner's phone number. No one has indicated that, but I don't see any of the other commissioners. They usually have their usernames.
Okay, all right. Seeing no county commissioners present today, let's move on to road commissioner reports. Commissioner McCollum.
Yes. On July 13th, I attended the Washtenaw County Park and Rec special meeting working session. Discussion of awarding the Chelsea B2B segment construction contract. It was recommended that the Washtenaw County Parks and Rec Commission award the contract for RFP 8121 to Erie Construction in the amount of $1,457,335 and authorize a 10% contingency for the project. And this was the lowest bid out of the 4 bids. On July 21st, I attended the chat with commissioner session. On July 22nd, I attended the US 12 Road Improvements public meeting. And on August 2nd, I attended the Southeastern County Road Council meeting. Thank you. That's the end of my report.
Thank you, Commissioner McCollum. Commissioner Green, do you have a report for us today?
Yes, I had the privilege of attending the 37th annual membership meeting of the Michigan County Road Commission Self-Insurance Pool, where I had the privilege of witnessing the re-election of Ron Doug Fuller to the McChrysip board. So it was a great meeting, and I look forward to attending more of those annual meetings.
Thank you. Commissioner Yamas.
On July 28th, I attended the chat with the commissioner, and it was a very good meeting. On August 2nd, I attended the County Road Association meeting here at Yard 1. Thank you.
You're welcome. Commissioner Doug Fuller, did you wish to read your report or expand on it?
I'll expand on it if you don't mind, just a wee bit.
Certainly.
I did, along with all the rest of our board members, thank you all, attended the County Road Association Southeast Council meeting yesterday. And by the way, I'm going to put a plug in at this point for our own commissioners. Nobody on our board, with the exception of my good self, is presently a member of the Roads Plus. And that is the political action arm of the County Road Association. And I would really like everybody to consider actually becoming members of Road Plus. It's the way we encourage legislators to think about county roads generally. Moving on, I'd like to comment that I have pretty much on a daily basis every day that we've been fog sealing for the last 2 weeks now, or 3 actually, because we took a week off with rain. The fog sealing is going well. It looks absolutely fantastic. I believe I read somewhere that we're going to start painting the stripes on the road following the fog seal, which would be a wonderful thing. And I also spent an hour or so over at the US 12 and M17 intersection improvement project Friday last week. I was well pleased. That's actually starting to look like a road intersection as opposed to an explosion. So that would conclude my additional comments.
Thank you, Commissioner Fuller. This is Commissioner Barb Fuller. And my report, first of all, I believe I am a member of Roads Plus, Commissioner Doug
really?
Fuller.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I drove through the intersection today at Zeeb and Pleasant Lake Road. It's a beauty. It looks fabulous. And on July 22nd, I attended County Commissioner Shannon Beeman's town hall meeting at the Freedom Township Hall, where she received comments about how the county might allocate its American Rescue Plan Act dollars. The county is slated to receive $71,293,950 as its allocation for the ARP distributions. One of the proposals submitted involves a stormwater project that our managing director can explain a little more fully if she wishes to during her report, but it was a resolution contained in our consent agenda that we passed a few minutes ago, and I will be speaking to that at tomorrow night's Board of County Commissioners Ways and Means meeting and their regular meeting. On August 2nd, yesterday, I too attended the Southeast Council of Road Commissioners quarterly meeting. It was hosted here in our own building. I want to commend Emily and Aaron and everybody else who wrangled, Emily's word, wrangled the logistics of that, name tags, table tents, food. Everybody was spaced nicely. Video was great. You did a beautiful job. And I want to say thank you, because I know it looks easy when it's done well, but there's a lot of behind the scenes work that goes into that. Moving on, we will hear from our managing director. That report, the staff report, begins on page 71 and goes through page 84. Cheryl, if you would, please.
Sure. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions if there are any with respect to the different reports that were submitted. All right, couple of things. First of all, I would like to thank you for taking time to do that resolution or recognition of retirement for Mr. John Posgay, for those of you who were able to come in today. I know that meant the world to him that we were able to do that. And so I thank you very, very much for doing that. I know that was very important, and his comments back, and thank you, Commissioner Fuller, for reading them, were quite humorous. It shows the type of person that he was, 27 years with our organization. So thank you for doing that. I would also like to thank all of you for coming to the CRA Southeast Council meeting yesterday. I think that it was very educational. Obviously, it's the first time we've been able to hold one of those in person for quite some time. And I would encourage you to think back about the different topics that were covered. I mean, there was a vast array of information that was thrown at you with a certain assumption that you knew at least certain things going in on some of that. So if there are topics that you would like further information on that we could expand on, we will be looking at working session topics for 2022. We'll be putting that schedule together here shortly. Plus, we also have additional working sessions coming up throughout this year. So if there's particular areas that seemed to be of interest or that you would like more information, I'd be happy to help coordinate that so that we can have you as best educated as possible. As you can see, there is a whole breadth of information that comes your way pretty much at every one of those meetings. But thank you for coming. That was very nice. I think that it said a lot to have our entire board at that council meeting yesterday. And finally, just following up on the ARP funds that the county has received, as Commissioner Barb Fuller did indicate, and thank you for passing that resolution on consent. Evan Pratt has really been taking the lead, although we've been attempting certainly to work closely with his office on developing talking points reaching out to township supervisors, especially those that are impacted by local culverts or local drainage systems that are in need of repair, replacement, some type of funding. As much as we're all hopeful that there will be an infrastructure bill that is passed by Congress and distributed for roads and bridges, I think we all know that the likelihood of that actually coming all the way down and funneling down onto the local road system is slim. On local roads, we are particularly challenged because we do have to have that financial partner. We do know that the townships are our most frequent partner, so that's part of why we've been reaching out to some of the township supervisors, because they know very well when we have all of a sudden to close or weight restrict a culvert, that frequently has huge implications for their community. So we've been asking for their support. The overall ask for the ARP funds right now is $2.5 million. So it's a relatively small number when compared to the $71 million total. But we think that it is still that $2.5 million would be very important and could go a long way to addressing needs throughout the county and needs that would last. So I do appreciate your support for that. And again, Evan and I will continue to work with township supervisors and with county commissioners should they have any questions. And I know that Commissioner Barb Fuller will be presenting that to the BOC at some point here as well. So if you have any questions for me right now, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Any questions for Cheryl? I don't see any.
All right, well then happy to hand it over to Jim Harmon, see what's going on in operations.
Thank you, Cheryl. Good afternoon, commissioners. Bring your attention to the staff report for the operations department. That starts on page 72 of your packet and continues to page 77. Covers the period of July 12th through the 25th. Happy to answer any questions you might have about that information. Fair enough, pretty straightforward. It was a very productive period of time. So glad to report on that. Some highlights, Commissioner Doug Fuller brought up the fog seal program. We are hoping, but for Wagner Road, which I've reported previously, we're coordinating with Matt and Brett Schlack and some safety projects that are getting underway on that road. That seal coating of Wagner Road is deferred until September, but all the other roads largely completed. And at this point, with the fair weather this week, we hope to finish the fog sealing by the end of Friday. So we're very excited about that. It's been a monumental effort and it's taken a lot of teamwork. Really proud of the outcome. I think it goes a long way to extending the life of many miles, a little over 100 miles of primary roadway across the county. So very proud of that outcome. As far as gravel and limestone resurfacing, that's ongoing. Actually, we're doing gravel resurfacing in District 3, the Chelsea area, on local roads in fulfillment of our township agreements. Paul Schneider and his group are continuing that process right now. As far as that program, in total, the Road Commission had almost 137,000 tons of limestone and gravel to put down this year. Of that, we placed so far about 63,000 tons. So we got another 74,000 tons to go. That amounts to roughly a little over a month. So we're trending well, we're tracking well, and we're confident we'll fulfill those obligations. And then some other good news. Despite the recent rain, asphalt resurfacing that the operations department is administering as part of a countywide program has started again. We've been working in Ashford Village in Pittsfield Township as part of that annual agreement. A couple of roads that we partnered with the township on to mill and resurface. So that's underway this week. And we're gearing up for our next big project, which is the county millage funded portion of Packard Road. So it's really from the east end of where Matt and his group finished that federal aid job near Gulfside, easterly toward the city limit of Ypsilanti. So we're excited to accomplish that work, and in partnership with Matt and his group, having a significant piece of Packard Road restored to very good condition. So that's forthcoming probably next week. And finally, we did get good news on salt deliveries. Yes, I'm going to bring up winter. You'll have to bear with me. I apologize in the early parts of August. As I've reported before, we began planning for the next winter season during the last winter season. We placed our bulk orders for salt for this upcoming winter back in February. We're being members of the state of Michigan's bulk purchasing program, My Deal. They really simplify that process for us. Despite doing that, we don't know what the unit prices are going to be until about the end of July. And it's always, we're always waiting to see if they're going to go up or go down. Well, they went down. We get them in two batches, the preseason deliveries, which will begin here in a few weeks at all our yards. Last year's unit price per ton delivered was $60.15, and it's gone down to $55.34. So we'll take it. That quantity in total is 11,450 tons of salt, most of which is going here to the main yard in our dome and to the large barn at Southeast Service Center, and then smaller amounts to Chelsea, Manchester, and the Northeast Service Center. The other batch is the seasonal backup. So that's the material we can order beginning December 1st and throughout the remainder of the winter if needed. We have to take no less than 80% of the order. Last year's seasonal backup price per ton was $52.43. This year it came down to $47.45. So again, very good news to report to the board. A little bit of a surprise, but I think through last year, the vendors were able to mine a lot of salt and crank up the supply for this winter, despite the fuel prices going up a little bit. So we're realizing some financial benefit. The total amount for that at 80% would be no less than 8,000 tons for our yards. And the maximum I can take is 13,000. So I can actually go over. And that's another nice benefit of the state of Michigan's program, is that we kind of are treated first, and we've got a little bit of flexibility if the winter is severe and we need more salt for de-icing pavement. So good news. With that, that concludes my remarks, unless the board has questions for me.
I'd just like to point out, while Jim was giving his report, I went through, and if my math is correct, there are 307 road projects in motion this season. It's an incredible amount of work that somehow gets done because of the teamwork of operations, and Dan watching the numbers, and Matt watching the engineering, and Sharon watching over all, Cheryl watching over all of you. So, but over 300 projects in motion. So when someone says, so what's the road commission doing this year? Say, well, you know, we have over 300 projects in motion. If you'd like more detail, we're happy to tell you.
Thank you. We are, it only happens by a team effort, and there are many hands involved in making all of that possible. So we're proud of the work we do. We're delighted to serve the community, and we see the benefit of all these investments. And it's always it's interesting because a lot of this all comes about in the same year that it's built. So again, a large team that makes all that possible to mobilize all of those resources and pull that off before the ground freezes, the snow starts to fly, usually in the middle of November. So thank you, Commissioner Fuller. I appreciate that, those remarks. Thank you.
All right, unless you have any further questions for Jim, I'd be happy to have Matt speak to the engineering department.
Certainly. A lot of projects underway, as we've been talking about. As a reminder, in your board packet on page 53, within the budget, second quarter budget update, there is a map of the overall projects, road and bridge projects. It's mainly the primary system. The local system doesn't have, aren't depicted, but that'll give you a good sense of the volume of work that we are getting done as an organization. I can give you a quick update on some of the highlights. Thank you, Commissioner Barb Fuller, for your compliments on the Pleasant Lake and Zeeb Road intersection that was opened up. And the contractor is proceeding to the north on Zeeb Road with the goal of getting all the way to Ellsworth Road with pavement. Certainly working on the culvert installations and getting things to grade and then bringing aggregate base in. So a lot of work happening in on that road segment. Also underway, we had a little bit break in the action on Mass Road just north of the city of Dexter. That bridge over the Huron River is getting some rehabilitation work that's underway. We'll be hopefully getting things wrapped up in the next week or so. And then things have to cure because it is concrete that we are pouring for pier repairs and deck repairs as well, and joint replacement. So that work is underway. We also, the same contract for our bridges in 2021, Getty's Road at the very easterly part of the county, we're working on a replacement of a bridge there. That closure is scheduled to take place on Monday. Certainly a busy corridor that will be detoured, relatively simple detour, but nonetheless, it is a detour just west of Ridge Road intersection. So that'll get underway next week. We are underway on Wagner Road. As Jim mentioned, our contractor has implemented a closure for some culvert replacement. And then shortly thereafter, they'll be moving down to the Wagner Road and Waters Road intersection for an improvement there. Other projects scheduled are Plymouth Road. There'll be some resurfacing from M153 to Curtis Road in Superior Township that will begin potentially this week and rolling into early next week, all weather dependent, of course. And then we did wrap up paving on Whitaker Road from Arcona to Willow. That work is complete, and we opened up, well, it didn't open up, but completed the paving work at the Carpenter Road and Bemis Road intersection. That work is not done yet. We are going to be installing a traffic signal. So that work is yet to be completed. We're waiting DTE to install some poles, but we can get underway with some of the underground work that we need to do to set up for the cabinet and the controls. So that will be a new signalized intersection when all is said and done. Currently it's a four-way stop. Any questions on any project that that you may have? Be happy to answer anything.
Yeah, Matt, I've got one because I was asked this morning on the phone by a neighbor that lives in that particular direction, Zeeb and Liberty. And I just told them we were going to try and get that bid out this fall or winter. Are we still on track for that roundabout improvement?
Yeah, absolutely. We are planning to, we're working with the utility companies for relocation efforts. We'll be rebidding that intersection, which is going to be a single lane roundabout this fall or winter, and with work to commence after school closures in the summer, and get that complete before the schools go back to school in August. So that's the plan. And we also have one piece of right of way that we still need to complete acquisition on as well.
And there's activity there today. It's traffic control today.
Yeah, a lot of the utilities are doing some reconnaissance and potentially some relocation efforts as well. So that will be the case. There are a lot of utilities in that particular area, particularly AT&T.
Oh, you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a heads up to our frontline people who get the phone calls. There will probably be some, because when I came northbound on Zeeb from Scio Church, it was backed up almost all the way to Scioto Church from Liberty.
Oh,
So,
Okay.
I
Well,
mean,
we'll
it just,
certainly
right, they just need to have a heads up, likely to have calls and have an answer.
be aware. Thank you.
Yeah, and part of that is the closure of Wagner Road. So we have traffic on Zeeb that normally is on Wagner.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Yeah. The
We
first
couldn't
week
time
of,
that better. Thank you, Cheryl.
the first week of that closure, traffic is finding a way and,
Yeah.
it gets a little chaotic.
Yeah.
After the first week, it gets better.
All right. Unless you have questions for Matt, I'd be happy to hand it over to Dan. I know he had the most recent MTF report in there.
Yep, and actually wanted to start with the second quarter budget, and I appreciate the board's approval. As we mentioned at the working session, if there are any changes, we would clearly communicate that to you, and staff didn't find any changes that we needed to make at this time. So what you approved is what we presented at that working session. But I do appreciate your time and attention to it, and we'll obviously continue to monitor it. And as far as Michigan Transportation Funds go, if you look at the last page of your packet, still trending well. For June of 2021, it's about 15% higher than June of 20. And overall, we're at like 14%. And we're sitting really well as far as our budget's concerned. The state of Michigan has, I have to be careful how I say this, they revisited their MTF estimates because they made no changes. So they looked at the estimates that they had in February, and they said they still felt comfortable with where those estimates were. So there are no changes as far as the MDOT estimates for Michigan Transportation Funds, which is good. Any questions on MTF at all? Obviously, that's very important. Besides that, finance, we're working on the second township building. So been communicating a little bit with Jim on that, and hopefully we can get those out in the next few weeks. I am happy to report all the townships except for one have paid their first township billings, which is great. A really good turnaround for most of them, and certainly we appreciate that. And then as far as IT is concerned, so Emily is really looking into the Freedom of Information Act and how the Road Commission handles that, making sure we're being open and transparent and following the law as best we can. So Chris Quinter is working with Emily, looking at software that looks at all forms of communications the Road Commission has: text messaging, emails, Microsoft Teams communications, WCRC social media, trying to archive all that on one platform and allowing staff, so Emily and her team, when a FOIA request comes in, to be able to search all of those platforms just all with one software, as opposed to, I think they're doing screenshots sometimes of some of those, because that's currently all we have. So we're looking at software that will make that much easier, allow us to be more responsive, and again, do all we can to comply with any FOIA requests we receive in the future. So that's kind of an ongoing thing right now. That's all I have, unless there's any questions for me.
I have a question about storage for all of that archived digital material. Is that a big deal, or am I just imagining it?
So I believe it's cloud storage as far as that's concerned. And also there's retainage schedules as far as you don't need to keep all these things forever. I think there's some that's like 7 years, some that's 4 years. And so we're kind of looking at all that as well. We're working with attorneys, again, make sure we're in full compliance, and we're just following the FOIA law. But you're right. I mean, there's a lot of information there.
So I would just remind commissioners and staff as well that your road commission computer is FOIAble, your road commission phone is FOIAble, and it's important to make sure that you have all of your communications and transactions relevant to the road commission taking place on those devices, because in the event you use your personal devices, those become FOIAble. So it's a real easy segregation to make sure you're conducting your road commission business on road commission devices. Do I have
And
that
Barb-
right?
And Barb, that's a great point. And along with all of this, once we get rolling with things, we plan on some communications with all the staff just to remind them, by the way, if you have a road commission cell phone, it's subjected to FOIA. Anything on there is subjected to FOIA, just to, we make that known when the devices are provided to folks, but it's always good to have a reminder, hey, anything could end up in a FOIA search potentially.
Right, and we also want to make sure that we are capturing everything. So we've got these nice software tools that are going to help in that endeavor, which are really important, but we do need to make sure that, as Commissioner Fuller said, that work is being done on road commission devices, because that's what we have control over. So we want to make sure that when we do receive a FOIA, that we're complying with that and we're able to capture all that information as readily as possible. Any questions for Dan? All right. Well, on behalf of staff, that's what we've been up to for the last couple of weeks.
No grass growing under anybody's feet in this organization.
Not at all.
Any other items to come before the board? Seeing none, I want to remind everyone that our next virtual board meeting day is August 17th. That morning, we have a working session at 9 a.m. We then reconvene in the afternoon for our regular board meeting at 1 p.m. Tomorrow, this is Commissioner Fuller's chat month. Tomorrow, I'm on point for the chat. And then on August 11th, Commissioner Doug Fuller is on point for that chat. If there's no further business to come before the board, may I have a motion to adjourn?
You may.
A second?
Second.
Thank you. Aaron, if you would please call the roll.
Commissioner Joanne McCollum,
Yes.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas,
Yes.
Commissioner Doug Fuller,
Aye.
and Commissioner Barb Fuller.
Yes. For the record, Commissioner Green had to leave early for an appointment. I want to make it clear that that was an excused absence when he had to depart the meeting. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.